My husband told me don't wait up, but at 2 a.m. the police called, their voices cutting through the dark like a blade, telling me he was gone, not just late but forever. His car twisted around a tree with another woman's perfume clinging to his clothes and secrets bleeding out onto the highway. Before I tell you how my life unraveled, I want to gently ask you to subscribe to this channel and tap the like button. These stories are shared every day, and if you've ever loved deeply, lost painfully, or had to rebuild yourself from nothing, you're not alone here. I never imagined I'd be the one sharing a story like this. I thought we had it all figured out, the kind of life that looks perfect from the outside, the one you post about with heart emojis and everyone likes. My name is Emily Thompson, and back in 2018, I was 28 years old, grinding away in a marketing job in downtown Chicago that paid the bills but drained my soul. The office was all gray cubicles and endless meetings, and my lunch breaks were spent scrolling LinkedIn, pretending I was building my network when really I was just lonely in a city full of people. That's when Mark's profile caught my eye. He was 32, a financial analyst with a downtown firm, and his photo showed him on a hiking trail somewhere in Colorado, wind-tousled hair, that effortless smile that made him look like he belonged on a magazine cover. His bio mentioned loving deep dish pizza, weekend getaways to the dunes, and classic rock. I sent a connection request with a casual note about a finance article he'd shared. He accepted almost immediately and messaged back, Giordano's or Lou Malnati's? This is a deal breaker. We went back and forth for days, teasing about pizza, sharing playlists, complaining about Chicago traffic. Felt easy, natural, like we'd known each other forever. Our first real date was on a warm May evening at a rooftop bar in the Loop. I wore my red wrap dress, the one that always made me feel confident, and spent way too long curling my hair. He showed up right on time, holding a single daisy he'd bought from a street vendor. "For the girl who's about to make my night," he said, that grin lighting up his whole face. We talked for hours about our families, his from a small town in Michigan, mine from the Illinois suburbs. Our dreams. He wanted to run his own investment firm one day, I wanted to write something meaningful, and everything in between. The city sparkled below us, Lake Michigan a dark shimmer in the distance. When the bar started closing, he walked me to my car through a light drizzle. "I don't want this to end," he said softly. Then he kissed me, slow, certain, like he meant it. I drove home with butterflies I hadn't felt since high school. After that, we were inseparable. Weekends were ours, brunch at Wildberry with stacks of pancakes and fresh berries, long walks along the lakefront trail where we'd stop to watch sailboats, lazy afternoons at Lincoln Park Zoo just because. He took me to his parents' lake house over the 4th of July. Fireworks exploding over the water, his mom's famous potato salad, his dad telling embarrassing stories about Mark as a kid. I brought him home for my family's chaotic Thanksgiving. My sister's kids running wild, my mom's green bean casserole that everyone fights over. He fit right in, charming everyone with his easy laugh. By fall, I'd moved into his Oak Park condo. It was beautiful. Exposed brick walls, big bay windows that flooded the place with light, a kitchen big enough to dance in while cooking. We made it ours. My throw blankets on the couch, his vinyl collection on the shelves, joint grocery lists on the fridge. Mornings were coffee together, his black and strong, mine loaded with caramel creamer, quick kisses before he headed to the train. Texts all day kept us connected. "Killed that meeting. So proud of you. Thai for dinner?" Evenings were for cooking together. Taco Tuesdays with fresh guac, Sunday pasta with red wine and candles. We'd binge Netflix curled up with takeout, or host friends for game nights filled with laughter and too much pizza. He proposed on our 1-year anniversary during a weekend in Napa. We'd spent the day wine tasting, driving winding roads with the windows down. At sunset, overlooking rows of vines turning gold, he got down on one knee. "Emily, you're my best friend, my home, my everything. Marry me." The ring was perfect, a classic solitaire that caught the light like fire. I cried, nodded, kissed him until we were both laughing through tears. We married in June 2020 at his parents' lake house, small because of the lingering pandemic rules, but intimate and perfect. Wildflowers everywhere, string lights twinkling as the sun set over the water. I walked down a grassy aisle to an acoustic version of our favorite song. His vows made everyone tear up. I promise to choose you every day, through bear markets and blizzards. Mine were simpler. You're my greatest adventure. Our first dance was to Etta James, barefoot in the grass, his arms around me like nothing could touch us. The honeymoon in Maui was pure magic. Snorkeling in crystal water, watching sea turtles glide by, sunset cocktails on the beach, making love with the balcony doors open to the sound of waves. Back in Chicago, life felt like the dream we'd planned. I got promoted to senior content strategist, splitting time between home and the office. Mark moved up to senior analyst, bringing home bigger bonuses that let us dream about houses and kids. That fall we adopted Bailey, a fluffy golden retriever puppy from a rescue, all paws and energy. He chewed shoes, stole socks, and slept between us every night. He was our practice baby, the one who made the house feel complete. Weekdays had a beautiful rhythm. Alarm at 6:30, coffee and quick kisses. Mark on the train downtown while I logged in from the home office overlooking the backyard. Text kept us close. Miss you already. Lunch was boring without you. Grab milk. Evenings were sacred. Cooking together, walking Bailey around the neighborhood as leaves crunched underfoot in fall, or snow muffled everything in winter. Weekends were farmers markets and apple picking, holiday lights at the zoo, barbecues with neighbors when summer returned. Sex was still passionate, slow lazy mornings, urgent quickies before work, everything in between. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, things started to shift. It began in 2021 when offices fully reopened. Mark's hours stretched longer. Big merger coming. He'd say, kissing me goodbye later and later. I supported it. Ambition was part of what I loved about him. But the distance grew. He'd come home exhausted, phone always in hand, flipping it face down when notifications came. Sometimes I caught a faint trace of perfume, floral, expensive, not mine. Client's wife was a hugger. He'd laugh it off. I believed him. Trust was everything to us. Arguments crept in. Small ones at first. You forgot our reservation. Work's crazy, Em. Then money questions. Hundreds disappearing from our joint account. Team dinners. Networking events. His touch became less frequent. Nights I reached for him, he'd claim exhaustion or early calls. I planned surprises to reconnect. A weekend in Galena with bed and breakfasts and wine trails. A surprise Cubs game even though we both hated them. He seemed grateful, held me tight under the stars, told me I was the best thing in his life. But his phone never stopped buzzing. Sarah was mentioned casually one night over dinner. New assistant at work, Sarah Jenkins. She's sharp. Really helping with the workload. I met her at the company holiday party that December. Petite brunette in her mid-20s, bright laugh that turned heads, stylish dress that hugged her figure. She shook my hand warmly. Mark talks about you constantly. You're even prettier than the photos. I smiled, proud of my husband, never imagining. By early 2023, I was 31 and ready for the next chapter. I started tracking my cycle, buying prenatal vitamins, talking about names. Soon, he'd say, eyes on his laptop. Once this quarter closes. But the quarter never closed. He traveled more, conferences in Miami, Vegas, New York. Came home with gifts, designer perfume, a necklace I'd admired but distracted. I started seeing Dr. Patel alone, confessing I felt like a roommate. Communicate, she urged. I tried. I miss us. I'm right here, babe. But he wasn't. October 12, 2023. A Thursday etched into my soul. The air had that perfect fall bite. Leaves turning fiery reds and oranges. Mark had been short-tempered all week, snapping over little things, shutting himself in the office for hours. I made his favorite chicken stir-fry, lit candles, wore the dress he loved. We ate mostly in silence. Any plans tonight? I asked lightly. He glanced at his watch. Client dinner downtown. Potential huge account. He stood, grabbed his jacket. At the door he turned, brushed my forehead with his lips. Don't wait up. The door closed softly behind him. I cleaned up alone, walked Bailey around the block, jack-o'-lanterns glowing on porches, kids practicing trick-or-treat routes. Back inside, I poured a glass of Chardonnay, scrolled Instagram, friends' vacations, engagement announcements, perfect filtered lives. Texted Mark at 8:45. Hope the dinner's going great. Love you always. No reply. By 10:30 I started a rom-com, Bailey curled beside me. At 11:45 I went to bed, leaving the porch light on like always. Sleep came in fragments, dreams of searching for him in empty rooms. The phone jolted me awake at 2:07 a.m., unknown number. Heart racing, I answered. Hello. Mrs. Emily Thompson? A calm male voice. Yes, this is she. This is Officer Ramirez with the Chicago Police Department. There's been a serious accident involving your husband, Mark Thompson. We need you to come to Mercy Hospital immediately. The world narrowed to that moment. I threw on clothes, jeans, hoodie, sneakers, hands shaking so badly I could barely grip the keys. Bailey whined as I rushed out. The drive was a nightmare, empty highways, streetlights streaking like tears. I called Mark's phone over and over, straight to voicemail. Please be okay. I'm on my way. The ER assaulted my senses, harsh lights, antiseptic smell, constant beeps and hurried voices. Officer Ramirez met me near the desk, tall, mid-40s, eyes gentle despite the badge. He led me to a small family room with worn chairs and a silent TV. Mrs. Thompson, I'm very sorry to tell you this. Your husband's vehicle left the roadway on I-90 and struck a tree at high speed. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Dead. The word didn't make sense. I gasped, folded in half, sobs ripping out of me. No, are you sure it's him? He nodded solemnly. There was a passenger, a woman named Sarah Jenkins. She's in critical condition in the ICU. Sarah. Everything clicked into horrifying focus. The late nights, the perfume, the secret texts I'd glimpsed. Sarah, his assistant? Yes, ma'am. We recovered Mr. Thompson's phone at the scene. There are messages and photos indicating an intimate relationship going back over a year. Hotel receipts as well. I'm truly sorry. Betrayal crashed into grief like a tidal wave. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. A nurse brought tissues, water, something to calm me. Hours blurred. Identifying his body under harsh morgue lights, cold and bruised and wrong. Calling his parents. His mother's scream echoing through the phone. Calling mine. My dad's voice breaking as he said they were coming. Dawn painted the sky gray as I drove home. Bailey greeted me with worried licks, sensing something terrible. The house was a tomb, Mark's coffee mug still in the sink from morning, his jacket on the hook, his scent lingering. I collapsed on the living room floor, sobbing until there was nothing left. The days that followed were a fog of arrangements and condolences. The funeral was packed, black suits, lilies choking the air, whispers behind programs. Colleagues avoided my eyes. Sarah's family sent flowers but stayed away. She was still hospitalized with broken bones and internal injuries. I spoke at the service, voice trembling. Mark was my partner, my love, my future. The words tasted like ash. After everyone left, the real destruction began. Sleepless nights, I tore through his things looking for answers. His laptop, password, our wedding date, a cruel joke. Emails, iCloud photos, hidden folders. Messages stretching back 18 months. I need you tonight. You make everything better. Can't wait to feel you again. Hotel confirmations for nights he'd claimed overtime. A secret bank account, tens of thousands drained for jewelry, weekend getaways, cash gifts. Even part of my grandmother's inheritance I'd put into our joint savings, gone. And worse, evidence he'd been skimming from client accounts, small amounts at first, then bolder to fund their life. Rage swallowed grief whole. I screamed into pillows, punched walls until my knuckles bled. Walked Bailey for miles until my legs gave out. Friends rallied. Lisa brought Chipotle and sat with me while I raged. He was a coward and a liar. You deserve the world, Em. but the world felt shattered. I was 32, widowed, betrayed, financially wrecked. Therapy became my lifeline. Twice a week with Dr. Patel in her calm office filled with plants. Anger is valid, she said. Grief and fury can coexist. I journaled pages of raw pain. How did I not see? Was any of it real? Flashbacks tormented me. Our honeymoon laughter now poisoned every "I love you" suspect. Winter closed in, ice on the windows, holidays a cruel joke. I took indefinite leave from work. Couldn't fake enthusiasm for campaigns about building trust. Sold his watches, his suits, anything that carried his memory. Paid off hidden debts with what was left of our investments. Spring arrived like mercy. Cherry blossoms bloomed outside the windows and something in me stirred. I forced myself to the gym, spin classes, yoga flows, sweat washing away some of the pain. Reconnected with old friends, brunches with bottomless mimosas, real conversations about survival. You're still here, they reminded me. That matters. I sold the condo, too many ghosts in every corner, and moved into a bright loft in River North with river views and a balcony Bailey loved. Freelance work started trickling in: blog posts, social media consulting. Money was tight, but every dollar was mine. The real turning point came at a networking happy hour I almost skipped. I went anyway, black dress, red lipstick like armor. That's where I met Alex, tall, warm hazel eyes, graphic designer with a laugh that filled the room. We talked for hours about books, travel, life's curveballs. Coffee dates followed, then dinners, slow, gentle, no pressure. He listened when I talked about Mark, held me when flashbacks hit. For the first time in years I felt seen. Revenge wasn't loud or dramatic, it was quiet justice. I hired a forensic accountant and a lawyer. Mark's embezzlement came fully to light. The firm settled out of court to avoid scandal. 6 figures deposited into my account, enough to breathe. Sarah lost her job. Her reputation in finance circles destroyed. Months later, I ran into her at a mutual friend's holiday party. She approached, eyes red. "Emily, I'm so sorry. It wasn't supposed." "Stop," I said, voice steady as steel. "You knew he was married. You chose this. Live with it." I walked away without looking back. Empowerment took root and grew wild. I started a blog, Rising from Ruin, sharing my story first anonymously, then with my real name. Thousands read it, left comments. "You gave me courage. This is my story too." Podcasts invited me to speak. I joined women's groups, shared stages about resilience after betrayal. I traveled solo New York, wandering Central Park in autumn, feeling the city's pulse match mine. Dated Alex openly, real love, built on honesty, laughter, mutual respect. Now, here on December 18, 2025, I'm 34. Bailey snores softly beside me as I finish writing this. City lights twinkling through the window like stars brought down to earth. Alex is coming over soon. We're making homemade pasta, drinking good wine, planning a New Year's getaway. The scar of that night is still there, but it no longer defines me. I visited Mark's grave once on the anniversary, laid a single daisy, the flower from our first date, and whispered, "I forgive you, but only so I can be free." Betrayal tried to bury me. Instead, I bloomed. If you're reading this and hurting, if someone shattered your trust, if you're picking up pieces, know this: you are stronger than the worst thing that ever happened to you. Rise. Rebuild. The life waiting on the other side is yours to claim.